and welcome
Hello.
Enrico to an Inside View.
Thank you for inviting me to this special interview. It's very important
Very
to me
welcome. Yeah,
to
talk
share
about
with
that.
you and also share with other person that would like to see this interview because I discovered that sharing is a very important part of a process of growth of the process of growth that I'm experiencing
Okay.
during the year. Yeah.
Okay. So we're here even to talk about your growth. But before we start on that, would you like to share with people a little bit of what you'd like them to know about you,
Oh,
where you're
yes. Thank
from?
you. Yes, I'm Enrico. I'm from Como, and I had the chance several years ago to discover you here in Como. It's quite incredible, and uh, and I think that we have the chance side by side to have a journey together. I like to call journey because I travel a lot in my life, but maybe the most exciting journey that I has the chance to do is the journey that we have with the space body mind.
Mm.
Yeah, because step by step, I had the chance to discover together with you and together the other person that share this experience year by year with us, how the practice of yoga and together with the conversation, the interactive dialogue, accompany me during my life, and I had the chance to have a more clear view about what happens to me, to my life, to the relation that I have with my body and mind, together with the body and mind in my inward and also outward, and discover time after time how the impact of the external elements that are part of the life, this impact change is always changing. I'd like to use this kind of verb because he never stop.
Mm.
And time after time, as the life change, every moment of your life change. And if you have the chance the opportunity to see how it happens in you and also in the external world, you have the chance to see that you can always change in your life, and all things depending to you, because life has a natural flow, of
Right.
course, and we cannot change that flow, but we can change the approach to the life.
Hmm. So we've known each other some years now. Who's
Mhm.
counting? And if you could describe what your life was like before we met and why you got curious about what it is we offer and how you started, and then how it unfolded from there. You can be as detailed or as general as you'd like.
Yes, I'd like to be really honest, because this conversation is based on transparency. And when I started to practice with you, it was for covering my needs of self-caring. But what I suppose it was self-caring in that moment in life was only have a better shape of my body.
Okay.
So that was the
Nothing
point.
wrong with that.
No, that was the point of start, because I cannot imagine that under the surface there was a huge world to discover.
Mm.
So I remember the first time we practiced together that during the practice, you launched some message, of course.
Oh boy.
And it's up to the person that is practicing to be available or not, to hear, to assume, and to digest what you mentioned during the practice.
You mean assimilate, not assume, I think.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. It's okay. No, you're speaking great English. No worries. Keep going.
Thank you. And step by step, what you mentioned during the practice has to me some impact. That means that I was curious to discover more and more.
Mm.
Yeah. And after that, we talk about several times, I remember, maybe per years, about the chance to let me participate to the Free to Breathe program.
Mm.
And, you know, sometimes you can ask for help when you realize that you need help.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a long process for me to realize that I needed a support because I needed a shift in my life.
Okay.
And Free to Breathe was the first step to let me access to several possibilities depending on me to change my life.
Now, you had a really nice life when I met you. It's not like anything was seriously wrong.
No, definitely no, because I had a great job. I had the chance to travel the world. I have the chance to access to all the beautiful things that world can offer to us.
Right.
But it depends always from the point of view, from the point where you see the world. And
Right.
now I can understand that I had some glasses.
Lenses, right? Okay.
Some lenses that can gave me a perception of the life in a different way. And I realized that I was curious to go in deeper under the surface. Now, I wasn't a person that lived in the surface, but sometimes I didn't realize that was something behind the surface. And yes, what we did together gave me the chance to be more curious about life and also about me. Yeah. And I started to ask myself some questions. And maybe there was something that I realized that I could change, I could improve. And of course, when you start to discover something more about you, it's not always something beautiful.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But of course, growing is not easy, probably. It's not an easy process. But if you are supported by the right tool or by the right hands, it can become simply. Not easy, but simply. And especially talking together with you and also with other participants to several sections that we share, I realized that sharing is a huge part of the process.
Yeah.
Because we are same equal. We are all a human being. And when I discovered that, I was able also to accept myself as a human being, as a person with a vulnerability.
Mhm.
I start to cry maybe for the first time in my life because I was supposing that crying was a disadvantage for a person, not a natural release. You can cry for several reasons. You can cry when you are desperate. You can cry when you enjoy the life. You can cry when you feel a strong emotion. And there is nothing bad in crying, nothing bad in showing yourself as more vulnerable. I'm sorry.
Vulnerable. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that things. And I realize also that showing myself as I am gave me access to a different level of conversation and connection with the other person. And I was appreciated for that, not judged.
Right. Right, because more often not, we have this idea that if we get open and vulnerable, that we're going to be judged. So that's the fear of being judged stops us. But
Yeah.
instead, that's not the experience you had, was it?
At the beginning, I improved most part of my life to seem always something better, to seem always stronger, to give the perception that I was a strong person, that I didn't need the support and the help from anyone.
Right.
But it's not me. Because I need the support of the other person. I need the compassion of the other person. And when I realized also that I can have compassion of the other person, especially because I realized that sometimes behind the behavior, there is a story, there is your character in the story. So
Your
when
character.
your character, yeah.
Okay.
When you are connected with someone, if you think that maybe a wrong behavior or something that has a wrong impact in you from the behavior of the other person, if you realize that the other person is living his own pattern, is living his role in his own story, the impact of his behavior change in you.
Sure.
And that was the hugest discovery that I had.
And in your work life, you work a lot with people. So I imagine this new awareness, or a deeper awareness, let's say, not only impacted your personal life, but every corner, every layer, every expression. Yeah.
Yes, every kind of relation, because we live with relation in work,
Right.
with your family, with your partner, with your friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes you realize that when you have when you did this process, you change also the perception of the relation that you have with the other person. And sometimes you realize that some relation always remain in a certain level on the surface. And this kind of relation become more and more less not useful, not important, but let me say, less next to you.
Less appealing, perhaps.
Less appealing, perhaps
Okay.
less appealing.
Yeah.
And you discover, on the opposite side, you discover a new way to relate with some person, with you are able to go in a deeper level. And the relation with this kind of person change the flavor, become more strong, become more real.
Because the connection deepens. Yeah.
So in the part of my life where I can choose the person who relate, the person that I choose now are the person really close to me, because I am forced the kind of relation. And in the other part of my life where I have obliged to maintain some relation because work.
Like in work.
Like in works, just to give an example.
To give an example, or family.
Yeah, work and family, because you are quite obliged. Yeah, but I had also in this field a turn of screw, because I don't know.
Turn of what?
Of screw.
Oh, you turned a screw. Okay, so there was a shift. Okay.
There was a shift, because the shift is, in Italian I can express better. Mi incazzo meno.
You get pissed off less.
Yeah.
Okay.
O meno spesso.
Less or less often, right?
Yeah. Because I recognize immediately that I'm fall down in something, but I avoid to fall down in deeper. Yes, and stay in that shit situation for a long time.
So would it be fair to say life has gotten less dramatic?
Less dramatic, yes.
Less
because
dramatic.
I was the queen of the drama queen in my past.
How I relate.
So now I less queen. Maybe
now
princess.
You're less of a drama queen. Yeah, there's always some. I mean, we're human beings, but yeah, decreased levels. So there are so many offerings. And for somebody who's never worked with their body mind and has never tried this on, were to come across it, or were to listen to what you're sharing, and they're curious and they want to try something out, what would you say to them? What would you suggest? How to start?
I suggest to them to try once, to have a practice. Starting from the practice, because
a body mind session.
To the body mind session, because I think that is a concrete and immediate impact that everyone can feel on self. Because when you realize that some note that you have in your body, when you release that, automatically you release some no in your mind. Maybe you don't realize immediately that connection, but you have the immediate feeling of release. You feel more heavy, more fatigued, more
tired.
Yes, less tired. And that's a point of start, a starting point.
Okay. And what would you say to people who, you started off with us in person
Mhm.
within the former physical studio space. And now that we're completely online, other than particular programs or privates and requests, um, for those who say, yeah, but I don't do stuff online, it's not for me. You lived that transition. What would you say to them about that?
Um, the moment we change the way to practice, that means from the physical studio to the online session, um, was the same moment when I decided to increase the number of practice per week.
Increase. Okay.
Increase.
Mhm.
And in that moment, I realized more benefits on me because I intensify the practice, of course.
By the increasing of number of
Yes.
times you practiced a week, right? Okay.
Yeah. And for that reason, um, I don't feel now any difference between the physical practice shared in a physical place with the practice that I have in my house. And especially now, because the work appointments and duties mm, don't allow me to be in a place in a specific time hour.
Mhm.
The online possibility, so with the recorded session, give me a new chance to decide when I can practice.
Sure, sure.
And that was for me something very advantageous, because
Mhm.
in this way I can maintain more sessions per week.
Right,
Otherwise, I can practice just 2 times a week during the weekend.
right.
And as I prove, I realize in myself that
Mm.
if I practice less than 3 times per week, my daily life change.
Speak to that. Tell me more.
Yes, because my mind, if I practice less, my mind is more stressed, is more tired. So if I start again from the body, so I started to practice more, the effect on the body automatically reflect in my mind.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yes, I cannot talk about addiction because it is a, I don't like this word, of course, but I can see the difference. If I practice less, I feel more tension in my body
Mhm.
and in my mind, of course.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know if you had a chance to watch the interview with Bruno, but he actually spoke to that in his opinion, it's a lifestyle.
hmm, this is a good word, lifestyle. Yes, I
Yeah,
use always this word in my work, but meaning something different, of course.
right, right.
But I think that it can summarize in the right way what we do, because lifestyle means exactly what we do. What we do. That means something to reach the well-being, and well-being means for me now self-care and also self-work.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Especially because I'm an extra giver person, so
okay.
I have the habits to give more energy outside and not inside. But when you realize that if you are committed in self-caring, you are also able to orienting in the better way your energy outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're a really busy guy. You've
Mm.
got a lot on your plate. So what made you want to come on to this platform and share about your commitment to your growth so openly and to the world?
As I mentioned to you before, I discovered that sharing is the key point
Mm,
of our work. So for me, it's important to sharing my experience in what I trust, what I have the chance to verify in myself with the other person. Because when I talk with the other, my friends or colleague and so on, they say me, but when you are able to find the time for that, and when you discover the impact that all this work has to in you, it becomes something like a life function. When you eat, when you breathe, when you drink, when you sleep, and you need also that.
got it. Very, very
So
clear.
the time you are the first person that in charge to find the time for you. This is your priority.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
even if your life, daily life is very busy, you naturally looking for something for you, because otherwise you cannot leave the other part, because the life is a tricky playground because that's really
It
tricky.
certainly can be.
Yes, because life is life. You cannot change so much, but you can change the approach to the life, and you need the right support to approach the life in a different way. And when you try to do it, you discover that some things, or the most part of the element that realize the playground of life can change the flavor.
Mm. So, since you've been so gracious to come on here and speak and share and answer all of these unprepared questions,
Mhm.
um, I'd like to give you an opportunity to ask me a question. Take your time.
Mhm. Mm. How much was important your experience in your playground life
Mm.
in order to share with us how to grow?
I don't think I can show anyone how to grow.
Mm.
Um, I think growth for each individual is very personal. Um, but as I began to experience the impact of working with the body mind in my own life, I could not share it. It's been a bit of a theme of my life. Whenever I'm passionate about something that's had a positive impact for me, I naturally, since I was a child, have wanted to share it with people. Um, and so I think for me, what was essential was in sharing the impact of working with the body mind has had on my life, um, giving others the opportunity to have access to the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Did that
can
answer the
confirm
question?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Enrico, I want to thank you for your time in joining us today. And when we create new seasons with new conversations and new topics, I do hope you'll join us again.
Yes, of course. I thank you for that opportunity, and I hope can the people will will see this video can excuse me for my terrible English, but I think that I was able to communicate over the wrong words.
Your communication was beautiful. Language is not about being grammatically perfect. It's about communicating.
Okay.
And I think your messages will be received very clearly. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you for me.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.